This is a review of day 1 for our unit 1 of functions, domain, and range. We're going to work on this a bit more and also do some more practice. So let's start off by titling our notes. All right, so let's begin by looking again at the definition of functions. Now, the main definition is when you have a one-to-one relationship between an x value and a y value. The other way we can do this is what is called the vertical line test. And if it goes through one point only, yes, it is a function. If it goes through 2 or more points, then no, it's not a function. All right, so let's just take a quick look at an example of that. And again, you guys, when you are doing video notes, please be sure and pause when you need to. And also, we will keep learning our skills at taking notes. Again, if you'd like some additional support, please let me know. So we're going to take a look at examples of a function. If I have something like, let's say I have a graph that goes like this. It's kind of a sideways parabola. And let's say our vertical line is here. Let's look at another one. What if I have, we've seen some of those over the last couple of days. And let's say I do a vertical line there. Let's say I do one there. Let's go back and take a look. This function on the left has a point there and a point there. So it's going through 2 points. So no, it is not a function. If you take a look at these vertical lines, each one only goes through 1 point. So yes, it is a function. All right, again, be sure and pause if you need to. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is domain and range. So let's talk about domain first. What we're always referring to are the x values. And range will be the y values. And these are left to right. And these are, we're gonna say up, we're gonna say down to up. Because when we read it, that really is the way we want to read that y values. Okay, next thing we are going to talk about is how you actually write these out. I know on Monday we talked about inequality. I want to work on that a little bit more with our Algebra 1 skills of an inequality, as well as adding the interval notation. So let's just do some practices of inequalities. And the main one we're going to be looking at is always when values are between 2 points. Whoops. Okay, let me go and explain the notes I have here. So we are talking about interval notation. And when it is a open circle, so we'll just write the word open circle, we use parentheses. When it is going to the infinity signs, we use parentheses. If we have a closed circle, we use brackets. So let's look at an example of that. If I have a graph that looks something like this, let's say we go from here to, let's go up here. So we have this segment. What we are doing, and here's the thing, you guys, I know we talked about this. I always want you to put those infinity signs so we can identify where we're headed. So this particular one is a segment. So if we were to write this little chart, let's do this. So we're going to talk about the method. We are going to talk about the domain and also identify the range. So let's say our first one is in words. And let's say our next one is in inequality. And let's say the last one is interval notation. So for this example 1, the words are, we would say, let me write a different color for this. All real numbers from, let's say between -2 up to, where does it go up to? 4. So again, the domain is the x values left to right, and the range is the y values up and down. So our words for the y values, it would be all real numbers between, what's the lowest point? -1. What's the highest value? 4. Let me go back, you guys. One thing. All right, let me go ahead and explain this particular example. So what we have is our parabola on the coordinate plane. And again, I always want you to include those green infinity marks on your coordinate plane. Now, in words, what I want you to realize is that when we are talking about a parabola, it extends all the way to all x values. So in this case, our words would be all real numbers. When we are looking at the range, the up-down, we are looking at the lowest value, which is this -4, and it heads to infinity. When we look at the inequality, we have -infinity to, between, x is between -infinity and infinity. And again, we do not include equal signs with infinity. The range is from -4 between infinity. So it is -4 less than, because it's a closed circle, the equal sign y is less than infinity. And again, for those inequalities, you have to have those inequality signs heading the same direction. So our interval notation for this, we have the parenthesis because it is an infinity sign. We would be between -infinity and infinity and a parenthesis. Again, excuse me, infinity signs have parentheses, and also anytime you're doing inequalities or interval notation, you're always having the smallest value on the left. So for the range, the lowest value is a -4. It is a bracket because it includes it, and it's heading to infinity, which is a parenthesis. So again, sometimes we're going to be looking at functions we already know. Sometimes we're going to be looking at functions that are segments, or what we also call piecewise. Again, please pause when you need to. The last thing I'm going to show you, example, let's change the color on that. Example 3 is to create a graph given domain and range. All right, so this is going to be in an inequality. So let's say our domain is, let's go, -5 is less than equal to, which is going to be that positive, it's going to be the closed circle. And let's say we go to 4. And let's say our range lowest value is negative, oh no, let's make it positive. +3. Real quick, you guys, let's change this up. I want it to go between -3 and that's going to be the equal sign with that inequality. Let's say we go to 1. So what this graph looks like. So let's go ahead and make a coordinate plane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Throw the arrows on the end. And even on this one, let's go ahead and put our inequalities. I'm sorry, infinity signs. Because I always want you to do that. So here we have. The domain goes from -5 to 4. So we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, you guys, this is not going to be perfect intervals on this hand-drawn coordinate plane. So we're also going to go to 4, which is over here. And our range is going from the -3 up to the 1. So what's going to happen is we are going to have the coordinate point at that left value of x and the lowest y value of -3. And it has the equal sign, so we are going to have a solid dot there. Now, the x value of 4, the maximum value, and the maximum value of the y is going to be right about here. And if you notice, they do not have the inequality. So you would draw the graph up to that point. Now, it really could be any type of function. I mean, it could go, as long as it's going between these values, it could do something like that. Or it could just be a straight line from here to here. So that's how you would create a graph given the domain and range. Be sure, everybody, please reach out. Drop me an email if you have any questions. Take care.